How's it going, Rogues Gallery? We are in the midst of Mortal Ambition spoiler season, having dropped my own official spoiler video not but a few days ago, and today we're going to take a look at all of the other spoiler cards released so far and just kind of talk about them. Consider this kind of like a spoiler review. There's a lot of really cool stuff. There's a new guide, you know, like Dungeon Guide or Academy Guide that we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. So, without further ado, let's go into our overlay. And I think this is the right one. Yes, here we go. And we have Soothing Delusion, or Disillusion, which is a absolutely adorable card. The art is by Guel, who does absolutely fantastic artwork, a good friend. And yeah, good job, dude. Soothing Disillusion is a rare 2-drop Cleric Tamer spell. Choose one, destroy a Fantasia, or put a buff counter on an animal or beast ally. I actually kind of like this a bit. I really like the whole like buff counter thing. It's a 2-drop, which I'm not sure if is like a great cost for this effect, but being able to destroy a Fantasia is also good. So I like modal cards. I really like this, so cool card. It's also just a rare, and the art is gorgeous. Next up, we have Juying Shadowmare. 2-drop, 3/3. Mage Tamer Beast Horse with Pride 3, and as long as you control a water element unique human ally, the horse loses pride and has stealth and true sight. So it's a sneaky horse, I guess. What's a Shadowmare? I guess that makes sense. This is interesting. It's basically an overstated unit, right? Undercosted, overstated. And if you have a unique element human ally or a unique water element human ally, then it's basically, you know, just really, really solid. I don't know. We'll have to see how these are good. I mean, obviously this depends on a lot of things. If you are a mage or tamer, right, and you're jamming this into your deck, I maybe assume in a tamer deck, right, more than a mage deck. But and you can literally run this in any water deck. I think it might be okay, but we'll have to see if this this human ally kind of this unique ally thing pans out to be anything good. Well, we're gonna need a lot more good unique water allies, basically. And I imagine a lot of the unique horses are going to be similar to this effect. Next up, we have Cavalier Rescue, 3-drop, action tamer horse skill with fast. This has equestrian. So as long as you have a horse ally, it costs 2 less. So it only costs 1 if you have a horse, which is great. And it says target ally gets +3 health until end of turn. If it's defending, wake it up, so then you can retaliate. So this is pretty good. Assuming you're running a horse deck that is also good. So we have to, once again, we have to get to the horse. We have to get to the horse deck thing. Next up, we have Non-Yue Portsman, a 3-drop 1/3 Guardian Warrior Human Equestrian. As long as you control a horse ally, it gets +1. So this is a 3-drop 2/3 if you have a horse, and then it has class bonus Floating Memory. Yeah, I mean like a 2/3 with Floating Memory is good. Class bonus Guardian Warrior, so you can play this in a Guardian or Warrior deck that's water. That also has horses. It feels a little narrow. Great art by Honshu, but it does feel like a very narrow card. If the horse deck is a thing and it's a water deck, I could see this maybe being a thing. So maybe you have Juying and do your Portsman in this hypothetical water warrior deck that has allies. I don't know. Then we also have all of the starter deck versions of Kongming and Jin. So the way I'm gonna do this, he basically has it set up. This is Gabriel, by the way. He basically has it set up by rarity types. We have a lot of cards to get through. We'll just go. I'll just do this now. So we have Jin, Fate Defiant. So Jin, it's 20 health, standard stat lines. Warrior, inherited effect. Whenever Jin attacks with a pole arm weapon and or pole arm attack card, target horse or human ally you control gets +1 until end of turn, which is pretty cool. This is an inherited effect, which is great. So this persists onto his, you know, level 2 and level 3 forms, which we will also talk about. His level 3 form is kind of wild. I think it's kind of cool. Obviously, it wants you to play human allies or horses. So maybe you make Water Gene the horse deck. Level 2, Zealous Maverick, Jin lineage. On enter, Jin's next attack this turn gets +1 attack, and on attack, wake up Jin. So you can do like a double attack with this, which is not too bad, and you still have this inherited effect. So that seems pretty good. I think right now we'll go find his level 3, so we can just talk about the whole lineage all at once. So here's his level 3, Jin Undying Resolve. This is the very first Exia element hero. This is kind of what it looks like normally. I guess we'll show the normal frame here. 28 health, Jin lineage, and his only effect is, as long as it's not your end phase, Jin has immortality. So he cannot die unless it's your end phase. He does not die during any other time of the game. And so the whole point of this is that you get this up, and then your opponent can kill him on their turn, but he won't die until the end of your turn. You know, the end on your end phase. So you have like a turn to heal up or to kill your opponent, which is really, really interesting. He literally reminds me of Tryndamere from League of Legends. I've seen some people who think this is overpowered. I kind of don't think so, right? I kind of think there's going to be some scenarios where you do that, you don't die, and then you just immediately die anyway. And his ability, or his level 3 champion, does nothing else. He has no other abilities. So you're hinging a lot on this. Do I think it's good? I kind of think it's good. Do I think it's busted? No, I don't think it's busted. We'll see, though. It could be. We'll talk about all of the Exia stuff, and there seems to be some really sweet Exia stuff. So Jin looks great. I actually really want to play Jin. I think he's going to be really cool. Next up, we have Kongming. I also really like Kongming. So Kongming is a mage. On enter, you gain Shifting Currents Mastery. And so what the Shifting Currents is, let's see if we can find that as well. Let's see. Kongming. Here we go. This is the Shifting Currents, right? So you get this. This is like a mastery that just stays on the field. It's not a token, it's not an ally, it's a weird thing that I don't think can be interacted with except for you doing things with it. And it says, it's a mastery mage spell. It has Kongming bonus. At the beginning of your end phase, you may change the direction of shifting currents to a different direction of your choice. So north, east, south, and west. And that's all it does, right? At the end of your turn, or the beginning of your end phase, you can choose whether to point this north, east, south, and west. And it has this arrow at the top, and so you can just kind of like, you know, move it around. And so all of the Kongming synergy stuff has to do with this card and this kind of effect, right? Where you want to move. They do things based on what direction all this stuff is pointing. So let's go back up here. Beautiful, beautiful artwork here. So the level 2 Kongming, this one has Kongming lineage. On enter, empower 3. So this basically means empower is a new keyword. Let's see if we can find a card that has reminder text on this. So no, that one doesn't have reminder text on the empower. Empower is basically a new keyword that temporarily boosts your champion's levels. So we're just going to try to find a card real quick here. Okay, we have found an example of Empower. So this is the Rainweaver Mage, 3 cost, 2/3. Actually, this card I think is pretty good. It's a 3-drop 2/3 that also has bonus effects. So it says, class bonus, on enter, you can banish a card with floating memory from your graveyard if you do Empower 4, which means the next spell card you activate this turn activates and resolves as if your champion got +4 level. So it's kind of like a temporary like boost, like a temporary like little +4 boost. Beautiful card here. So what Kongming does is on enter, empower 3. So your next spell this turn, you get to play as though Kongming had +3 levels. And she also has she has an inherited effect, just like how Jin has an inherited effect. Whenever your shifting currents change from north to south, draw a card. So you want it pointing north, and then you change it south, and you get to draw a card. So once again, you get to do that at the end of your turn with that card. And this is navigating this. Let's see. Let's find it again. Here we go. Yes. So at the end of our turn, we can choose this. So we want it north, pointing south, get a draw card. And there are other cards that will let us do that as well. So it's really interesting. And then her level 3 version, Kongming Fel Eidolon. This is kind of like the alternate art CUR version. This is serialized collector ultra rare, which is really, really nice. Kongming lineage. On enter, recover X, where X is the number of Terra elements in your banishment. So you want to banish a bunch of Terra cards, and you'll heal a bunch, which is great. So she's kind of like Jin in that she has this ability to have like this sustain, which is interesting that they both do that. And she says, whenever you activate a spell, or spell card, you may change the direction of your shifting currents to an adjacent direction of your choice. So adjacent would be one of the next ones, right? You can't go from north to south, but you can go from north to west or north to east or whatever. So that's kind of what she does. So she heals, and then she's able to move her shifting currents around. Here's the regular version of Kongming Fel Eidolon once again, beautiful. And then here is the CSR version, right? So the non-serialized, still very, very cool. So yeah, I actually like both Kongming and Jin quite a bit. I think Jin has some really, really cool and interesting applications, and I think it's really exciting it's gonna be really exciting to build and play. All right, so let's kind of run through a bunch of the stuff. We have a ton of cards to talk about here. So this is the Divine Relic Imperial Seal, gorgeous artwork, really interesting and weird card. So as you can see here, we have like this frame break treatment. This is true for all of the ultra rares going forward, starting with Mortal Ambition, because the Grand Archive team essentially said that they really want to make these cards exciting to pull, and you hit something good because they have like this extra frame break treatment, and I think it's really cool. It's a good way to set the URs apart from every other card and make them stand out as important cards. So Divine Relic, you banish this, all basic elements are enabled for you until end of turn, so fire, water, and wind. This is an interesting way to enable all of the elements from your material deck without committing to a champion. This feels like a crazy combo card, and I think it's super, super interesting. It's not one of the Divine Relics that's immediately, obviously, super powerful like the Grand Crusader's Ring, but I think it's still really good and could be, well, I think it's really interesting and could be good in the future. I think it's cool. Next up, we have Mandate of Honor. This is a zero-cost Regalia item, Cleric accessory. As long as you control a unique ally, each player with influence 8 or more can't draw cards. Nice little hate bear type card. 0-drop. Also cares about having unique allies. I think it's kind of cool. I like having effects like this in the game. Next up, we've talked about Dragon's Dawn before, so we're not going to cover it this time. But yes, ultra rare, cool polearm for your boy Jin. Hey, guess what? We have another polearm for your boy Jin if you want to go wind. This is Sundering Moon. 0-drop. Did we cover Sundering Moon already? I don't know. 0-drop. Regalia Weapon Warrior Polearm. Jin bonus on enter. If you control 2 or more wind element allies, it gets +1 attack until end of turn. So the turn you play it, it has 2 attack, which is pretty cool if you have that condition. And then also Jin bonus, if you pay 2, return Sundering Moon to your material deck. Then prevent the next 1 damage that will be dealt to target unit you control this turn. So basically you attack with it once, then bounce it back to your material deck, and then pop it back in, out and in. Maybe we did talk about this. Does this one do something similar? In any case, I think this is really cool, and I like this kind of like play style and play patterns. I think this is a cool card. Next up we have Acolyte of Cultivation, a 4-drop 2/3 Cleric Mage Human with class bonus. As long as you've activated a spell card this turn, this card costs 3 less to activate. This actually feels crazy to me, actually. So there are some cards on here that I haven't read yet, and I haven't read this one yet, and this seems crazy. As long as you've activated a spell this turn, this card costs 3 less. So this is a 1-drop if you've played a spell, any spell. Cleric Mage bonus. If you play a 0-drop, this costs 1. I think this card's insane. I think this card's crazy. One of the most efficient allies they've ever made. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this card's nuts. Next up, we have Bring Down the Mighty. Oh, this art is awesome. 1-drop Assassin skill. Hell yeah. Slow speed. Until the beginning of your next turn, target ally can't attack. If it's unique, draw a card into your memory. Ooh, for 1. Interesting. I mean, of course, Pinakis, insanely talented artist. I don't know. I think this seems interesting. It's only a 1-drop. It's a skill, not a spell. You can potentially draw a card. I think this is cool. Maybe. I think this is a big maybe. This might see play. Next up we have Cavalier Rescue. This is a horse skill. 3-drop, fast speed, tamer horse skill. Equestrian, if you have a horse, it costs 2 less to play, so it only costs 1. And then, oh, we already talked about this. Yeah, we already talked about this. So these are the cards of the day. Yeah. Yeah, horse deck. Next up we have Cure the Flesh. Oh, this one's also interesting. So this is a 3-drop, fast cleric skill. Remove all temporary damage from an ally, draw a card into your memory. This is also kind of interesting. I feel like this is maybe good in some sort of like big Voltron deck where you have a couple very large allies that you're trying to wager your game on, essentially, and you need to protect them. This seems kind of cool. Outside of that, it needs to have temporary damage on it, right? It can't just be like immediately one shot. I don't think you can use this on something that's like literally dying on that moment. Or maybe you can. Let me know in the comments down below. Can you use this on something that has lethal damage on it? Maybe. Maybe like in response before it dies, or does it die due to state-based actions? We'll see. This is what card that I spoiled. I think this is pretty interesting. Just a kind of standard 2-cost 3 attack, assassin attack. It has True Sight, and on kill you can put a prep counter on your champion. This seems alright. This seems pretty good. Good way to maybe potentially build up prep counters on non-Tristan decks. Maybe in your Xander or something. I don't know, maybe. Alright. Here we have a very spicy card, both in terms of art and potentially in terms of effects. So this is a new guide. This is the Heavenly Guide. This is a 1/3 for 3, Cleric Human. So, on level 2+, it's only on level 2+. On enter, if an opponent controls a non-spirit champion with a card on top of its lineage that wasn't played, level up your champion. Now, there's a lot of conditions that have to be met here. You need to be level 2+, right? And you also have, your opponent has to have a card on top of their, and in their lineage that wasn't played, on top of its lineage that wasn't played. And so it says here in the reminder text, a card was played if it was activated or materialized. So they had to basically kind of like cheat their card into play with maybe a dungeon guide or something like that, because it wasn't activated or materialized, I believe. I'm not sure how often you're going to be able to pull this off, right? And you have to be level 2+, so this is only like you getting up to your level 3. This is another card that I'm unsure if it's very good, to be honest. It might be like super cracked for all I know, but I kind of don't see it. If you know the lines, if you think this card is insane, let me know in the comments down below. It is a super rare too, so it'll be pretty hard to pull. But I'm unsure of this one. This is definitely not a slam dunk like Dungeon Guide, and it's definitely not in the same space as Academy Guide either. It's something completely different. I'm not sure. All right, now we have Hire Mercenaries. Cool art again. 2-drop tamer skill. This card costs 1 less to activate if an opponent controls 1 or more allies. And then it says, look at the top 2 cards of your deck. Put one of those cards into your memory and the other on the bottom of your deck. So it's just basically potentially a 1-drop, kind of like sleight of hand from Magic, right? You look at the top 2 cards, you kind of draw one, and then you bottom the other one. This seems like a pretty efficient card. It's the tamer skill though, not a mage or anything like that. I like this card. Yeah, I like this card. I like quite a bit. Idle Thoughts reprint. We have Indolent Leisure. Oh my. This is a 3-drop slow cleric mage spell. You just draw a card, and then class bonus 3+, draw another card into your memory. So this is a 3-drop that potentially draws you 2 cards if you're level 3 mage or cleric. I also think this card is pretty cool. And so it is a fairly slow card for 3, also having the slow keyword, but maybe in like a cleric kind of deck where you're really trying to go for it. I don't know, maybe. This is a card that's interesting to me, and one that like I think people are probably going to play around with. Next up we have Invective Instruction. 2-drop slow. Target ally gets +3 until end of turn. Pretty cool, nice little buff. And then class bonus, if you control a non-human ally, draw a card into your memory. This seems like a pretty good card for an aggressive tamer deck. +3 and then draw a card into your memory. I don't know, it seems pretty sick. It has to be a non-human though. And then we have Lead with Force, 3-drop tamer skill, class bonus. This costs 1 less to activate, so if you're a tamer, costs 1 or costs 2. And then a target ally gets +1 health. If the ally is an animal or beast, put a buff counter on it. So you can basically give something +1/+2 until end of turn, or gets a permanent +1 for a 2-drop. I actually think this is pretty good with my spoiler card. So my spoiler is where is she? She's Chow, Cinder Keeper, and she's a assassin tamer animal human cat. She's a 1/2. So with that card, you can make her a 2/3, or maybe pump her up even more, because she's really good with buff counters and pumps, because she has stealth, and if you are an assassin or tamer, she also cannot be retaliated, and then anything that she kills also gets banished. So I think she's a really good efficient attacking unit, and pumping her up with anything is pretty good. And so any of these things that give her buff counters, I think, is pretty good. So potentially. We have Lost Wisdom, also great art. Hey, look, it's Honshu. I haven't read all of these, so I didn't see this. So 4-drop, costs 2 less to activate if you control one or more unique allies. Class bonus, so cleric or mage. And then you return a spell from your graveyard to your memory. I think this card's cracked. I think this card's cracked in half. This card's insane, actually. Any of these kind of like regrow type effects, they're pretty rare in Grand Archive. So I think this is really solid. And so for a 2-drop, if you have a unique ally and you're a cleric mage, yeah, that seems real good. We have the Steed. We talked about the Steed before. We have Mnemonic Charm. 2-drop, on enter, draw a card into your memory. And then you can sack it and empower 2. This is a cleric mage scripture. So it's basically a 2-drop. You draw a card in your memory, and then you can empower 2 later. This seems pretty good. Yeah, this seems pretty good. This is a main deck card. This is not one of the material deck cards. So I don't know. This seems like it could be a pretty good role player. Doesn't draw the card immediately. Draws it into your memory, but not too bad. Here we have the namesake of the set, ultra rare Mortal Ambition, a 6-drop. Tamer skill. This card costs 2 less to activate for each unique ally you control. So if you have 3, it's free. And then, adjusted otherwise. It says, until end of turn, human and horse allies you control get +1 health and gain ambush and steadfast. This is just a skill. It has fast, so you can technically run like a full playset of these in your deck. And you can give your horses and humans +1 health and ambush and steadfast, which is kind of interesting. I guess you want to run this in your equestrian deck, right? You want to run this in your horse matters deck. Is it good? Maybe. You want to run a bunch of unique allies and horses, essentially. We're basically playing Dynasty Warriors here. All right, next up we have Mystic Purifier, 2-drop, 1/2. On enter, you can pay 2. If you do, destroy Fantasia. So 4-drop to destroy Fantasia. It's just norm element. I think this is good. This seems like definitely like sideboard tech, but with the sideboards kind of like favoring more of these non-material deck cards, I think this is interesting. So I don't hate this card. Yeah. Nascent Barrier. Did we talk about this one already? I think we talked about this one already. 2-drop, class bonus. For the next level, +1 damage to be dealt to your champion this turn. It's a cleric reaction. And then level 3 plus Glimpse. I think we did talk about this. I think it's pretty good in Arisana, for sure. Paired Minds, Kindred Souls. Another art by Honshu. This is a 3-drop slow. Look at the top 10 cards of your deck. Reveal a horse ally from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Class bonus, if you control a unique ally, the next horse ally you activate costs 2 less to activate. It's all coming together. The horse deck. You got the Paired Minds. You got the Mortal Ambition. You got your horse. Yeah. Sure. We're doing the horse deck. And this is a super rare. You look at the top 10. Yeah, I mean, sure. Doing the horse deck stuff. Skilled Plainsman. 3-drop, 2/2. Class bonus. So he's a warrior human. Class bonus. Equestrian on enter. If you control a horse, put a buff counter on this. So he's basically a 3-drop, 3/3. If you're a warrior and you control a horse. Good stats if you have a horse. This could make the horse deck like decent, maybe. Slice and Dice. This is just a reprint of the Slice and Dice from the Tristan Recollection deck with art featuring best assassin, cat girl, Chow Chow. Yeah, I like this. I like this art. I'll be using this art for my own decks. Now we have Staggering Strike, 3-drop, 3 attack, attack warrior attack. It says True Sight, and on champion hit, remove 3 prep counters from the hit champion. I hate this card. This card sucks. Get out of here. No, this is a really good tech card against, obviously, assassins, and in particular, Tristan. It also kind of hoses over Xander, who doesn't really build a lot of prep counters, but still wants to use the ones that he does have. So this seems pretty good. Definitely like sideboard tech against assassins. That's why I hate it. Next up, Stolid Vanguard. Cute artwork, 2-drop, 1/2, equestrian on enter. If you control a horse, it gets +2 until end of turn. So just it becomes a 3/2 until end of turn, 2-drop if you have a horse. Sure. Seems more like a limited card to me. Because after that, you just have a 1/2, which is not great. That doesn't do anything. So this is kind of like a one-shot attack kind of thing. If you have a horse, you'd pay 2 to attack for 3, but there's other ways to do that in the game. I'm not sold on this one. Now we have Sun Quan Sealbearer. I think this guy's pretty sick. 4-drop, 2/3. He is a unique ally tamer warrior human. Level 1+ on enter, put a buff counter on another ally you control. And on level 2+, allies you control with a buff counter on them lose pride. This is kind of insane. You can put this on something with crazy high pride. Any of those like set 1 cards that have like pride 5, 6, 7, whatever. They get a buff counter and then they also lose pride if you're level 2? This guy seems cracked. I think this guy seems pretty cracked in like a big tamer deck. So maybe we'll see a big tamer deck work. Like maybe we'll see a tamer deck that's not Slime's actually pretty good. Unbroken Mustang, another horse. 1/2 horse for 4. On enter, destroy up to 1 target item or weapon with memory cost 0 or reserve cost 3 or less. Hilarious. It's a 4-drop horse that just blows up stuff. I like any of these things that are like have removal on them, so I think this is actually potentially solid as a sideboard card. We have War Marshal, another one with beautiful artwork. 4-drop, 2/3, Guardian Human, so class bonus Steadfast. Great. And it says this ally can retaliate while rested and doesn't rest to do so. Yeah, seems really good. And then class bonus also Equestrian. As long as you control a horse, she gets +1/+1. So she is a 3/4 for 4 if you have a horse with Steadfast. This card seems really sick. So yeah, probably a really good card for your horse deck, if you're doing that. We have Weaken Resistance, a 4-drop slow mage spell. If your class bonus costs 1 less, so 3-drop if you're a mage, the next time you would take, or a unit would take damage this turn from a spell source, it takes that much damage plus level instead. So seems like an interesting combo card that you use to pump up your next spell. Potentially. Like, I'm not sure if this is good enough for Rye, but I mean, maybe it is. All right, let's see how many more cards we do. We still have a bunch of cards to go through. But some of them are reprints. So like we have a reprint of Creative Shock with beautiful artwork. So really happy about this. Just at common. So a really, really nice reprint there. We've already talked about Fang of Dragon's Breath before, I believe. Fiery String was one of my spoiler cards, so I'm not going to go over it too much, but it's a nice little 6 cost 6 attack that can attack for up to 12. And a lot of people are like, maybe just as a 6 attack, this is worth it. So potentially. Here we have another reprint, Fireball, with another piece of absolutely gorgeous artwork. I will likely be using this artwork as well, though I do have the supporter pack Fireball that I'm currently using in my Merlin deck, but this one's so good too. Looks fantastic. Similarly, we have another reprint, Flame Rune Swordsman, with beautiful artwork once again. I think this might be my, well, no, that's not true. The Gule artwork is my favorite one, but this is pretty good too. So we got a bunch of staple reprints, and this is to make it so that people in areas where Grand Archive is not prevalent, you'll have these cards that are a little bit harder to find more readily available, which is really good. You know, such as like Southeast Asia, Europe, and all that kind of stuff. Next up, we have Heated Vengeance. The art on this is just wild. It looks so good. 3-drop, 2 attack. This is a warrior polearm attack. As long as your champion has taken damage this turn, this gets +3 attack. And then class bonus on attack, you may have Heated Vengeance deal 3 damage to your champion. So you can make this a 3-drop, 5 attack if you take 3 damage. Yeah, seems like a pretty big attack. This is something you probably want to do with Jin, where you like you're immortal or whatever. But you just have to make sure you don't kill yourself, right? So, I don't know, interesting. Here we have Hulao Gate, Sun's Ascent, a 3-drop unique domain, Warrior Crossroads. New little type there. Whenever a unit declares an attack, deal 2 damage to it. Oof. Rip weenies. Upkeep, at the beginning of your recollection phase, you may banish a fire element card from your graveyard. If you don't, sacrifice Hulao Gate. This is so good at killing anything that has less than 2 health, right? Yeah, this just absolutely dumpsters like the low to the ground aggro decks. This is a pretty wild card. Yeah, this seems like an insane sideboard card against low to the ground decks. We have Ignite Fate. Oh, I love this card. This might be one of my favorite cards we've seen so far because it interacts perfectly well with Korhazi Courier. This is the first non-class bonus fire card with floating memory. This is the first card that you can actually discard to Korhazi Courier, get the ping, and then have the floating memory. It's just a 3-drop slow spell, mage spell, that says deal 2 damage to each champion, but it also has floating memory. This is so good with my Korhazi Courier. I've been waiting for this kind of effect, so I'm pretty stoked about this one. We have a Tiger. 4-drop Lava Soul Tiger. 4-drop 5/5 Pride 3 Tiger. Class bonus on enter, you can banish 2 fire element cards from your graveyard. If you do, the Tiger loses Pride until end of turn. Yeah, once again, I think maybe we might see some like non-slime tamer decks like do some stuff. Like a 4-drop 5/5 with only Pride 3 is really good. And then you can also, early game, make it lose Pride for the turn. And then you can do things that pump it up, like, where's like Tamer Homie here? Yeah, do things that pump it up, make it a 6/6, and just have it permanently lose Pride. I think we might see some Tamer stuff rocking this set for sure. And I think a Fire Tamer deck is looking to be potentially really strong. We have Oppressive Presence, just killer artwork once again. Pinakis, of course. 3-drop Fast Warrior Skill. Activate this only during an opponent's recollection phase. Until end of turn, players can't declare attacks with allies unless they pay X for each attack, where X is the highest power among fire element allies you control. This is a really nasty kind of like fog, board stall kind of effect. I think it could be powerful. I think this could be pretty good. Next up we have Retygard, absolutely gorgeous. 4-drop, 2/4 Equestrian. As long as you control a horse, it has Taunt and Vigor. Pretty solid for the horse deck if you're gonna do the fire. And the art is, once again, just insane. Scorchfire Assassin, 3-drop, 1/3 on attack, or class bonus, Assassin on attack. You can remove up to 3 prep counters from your champion. For each removed, this gets +2. I think this guy can do some insane damage, some actually insane damage. You play this for 3 and it can immediately attack for up to 7? Remove 3 prep counters, attacks for 7? So Fire Tristan, maybe? Like actual Fire Tristan? I don't know. This seems kind of wild to me. I like him. Solar Pinnacle, cool name. A 2-drop mage spell slow. As long as your shifting currents face north, so this is one of the Kongming cards. This has fast activation, and then you can deal 2 damage to a unit, and then you also empower 2. So you deal 2 damage, and then you get the extra empower. I think this card's really good for your Kongming fire deck. I think we already talked about the Sword Saint of Everflame. This card is sick. I dig it quite a bit. We have Thunderclap, beautiful artwork. 4-drop fast mage spell, 3+. It costs 2 less to activate, so if you're level 3+, it only is a 2-drop, and it just does 4 damage to an ally. So at fast speed, that's pretty good. I mean, we already have stuff that's like 2 cost, 4 damage to an ally, but it's slow speed. This is fast speed, and if you're level 3+, it only costs 2. Maybe. We'll have to see if this is better than the other card. I don't know if having the fast speed is worth it, but maybe it is. Maybe it is. Here's my spoiler card, or the big spoiler card that I did. I think she's really good. I think she's better in Tamer probably than Assassin, but I really love her. She's great. And yeah, I want to play her in this Tamer deck with like these Fire Tigers and all this stuff and just kill my opponent. We have Burst Asunder. I think we talked about this one already, right? Yeah, you sacrifice fractals and it deals 2 damage for each fractal you destroy, which is pretty interesting. Class bonus costs 2 less, so you can do like a fractal combo kill with this card. Oh, here's one we haven't talked about. Cow Aspirant of Chaos. This is one of the unique allies. 5-drop, once again, artwork, need I say more? Equestrian. She's a 2/2 mage human. And as long as you have a horse, it costs 3 less to play. So she's a 2-drop if you have a horse. And then on class bonus on attack, so if you're a mage, you may banish a card with floating memory from your graveyard. If you deal 2 damage to each rested unit you don't control. So she's a way to deal damage to a bunch of stuff on your opponent's field. But you have to be a mage and also be maybe playing horses. I guess you technically don't have to be playing horses. It's an interesting card. I don't know if it'll find a home, but I like the artwork a lot. Hoarfrost Spine, this is an interesting one. We have a bow. Bows function basically the same as guns. And it says, on enter, look at the top 3 cards of your deck. You may put that card in your graveyard. It's a 1/3. This is from the main deck. So this is a weapon from your main deck. And it's a bow. And it's really interesting. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. We talked about these cards already. Talk about this card. Really cute artwork. Here we have Refracting Missile with Kong Ming and the artwork. 3-drop fast. Deal damage to target unit equal to the amount of fractals you control +1, and it has floating memory. So once again, there's some like crazy fractal burn deck that's gonna be made from this set. Is it gonna be good? I don't know. But I can see the pieces obviously coming together. Now we have a really wild card. This is Sea Fletched Serpent, a 3-cost 3/3, which is really, really good stats, with Pride 2, Ranger, Tamer, Beast, Serpent, and then class bonus on hit, you can load Sea Fletched Serpent into an unloaded bow you control, which is, what? You load it, you can do like a lot of damage with this card. So I guess the idea here is you attack for 3, and then you load it into your bow, and then you shoot him for 4, right? Interesting card. It's really interesting. It's kind of this cool little effect. I don't know, once again, if it's a good effect, but I do kind of like it. I think we already talked about Slipstream Vault, because of this character is really cool. We have Sudden Snow. Pinakai's artwork. Excellent. 2-drop fast, mage spell. You can banish a card with floating memory in your graveyard if you do draw a card. Until end of turn, allies enter the field rested. I think this card is pretty sweet for like a controlling style deck. So you can banish a floating memory, draw a card, and then like do this on your opponent's like recollection or something. So like all their stuff comes into play rested, slows them down. I think this card's good. Sword Saint, I think we were talking about the Sword Saint. Absolutely beautiful. Tidal Lock, 3-drop, fast, cleric spell reaction. As long as you control 3 or more water element cards in your graveyard, this costs 2 less, so it only costs 1 if you have 3 or more water element cards. Negate target card activation unless its controller pays 2. Banish the card. I think this is kind of cracked as well. So this is a potentially a 1-drop counterspell. Like 1-drop counter unless they pay 2. I think this card's kind of cracked, actually. I think it might be the best counterspell they've made so far. We have Wuji of Lingering Fate. So this is a 2-drop Fantasia mage spell. On enter, deal 3 damage to target rested ally you don't control. I like that already. And then whenever your shifting currents change from facing west to east, you may sacrifice this card. When you do, target player puts the top 3 cards of their deck into their graveyard. I think this is an interesting card. It is removal and also does some other mill shenanigans. I think this card's sweet. All right, so we just have some advanced element stuff and then wind. So wind, we have a Bagua of Cardinal Fate. This is a 1-drop. I think this card's also kind of wild. Action, mage spell, fast. It's a 1-drop fast spell. Depending on your shifting currents, you do the next thing. So if it's pointing north, put a buff counter on an ally you control. If it's pointing south, return an ally you control to owner's hand. If it's pointing west, glimpse 3 and draw a card. If it's pointing east, wake up each defending ally. They all get +2 attack for 1-drop. This card is insane. It's so many options, but there's a lot of like foresight that goes into this and determining whether or not you want to, you know, prepare for north, east, south, or west, and all that kind of stuff. I think this card's really, really cool. It's really, really fun. I don't know if it's good, but I like it. We have Cyclical Breeze, 4-drop, slow, class bonus. It's Cleric Mage. Costs 2 less. Return target wind element spell from your graveyard to your hand. I think this is also cracked. Any of these cards that get you stuff back is cracked. So for 2, to get them back to your hand is wild. So you can just play it again. So if you have a big finisher, you can literally play the finisher, play Cyclical Breeze, and then play the finisher again. That seems crazy. Now we have Dilu. It's the Dilu horse. Auspicious Charger. 2-drop 3/4 horse with Pride 3. And then as long as you control a wind element unique human, this loses Pride and has Vigor. So yeah, we're going to see a lot of unique horses that do this, right? They lose Pride if you have a unique ally and get some bonus. So yeah, goes in your horse deck, I think. Also, just a 2-drop 3/4 is not too bad. Here's the Fairy Whispers reprint. Beautiful. Here's a Favorable Winds reprint. Also beautiful. Poised Rearguard. 3-drop 3/3. Pretty good stat line. Hindered, so it enters rested. And has Equestrian. On enter, if you control a horse ally, wake it up. I think this card's pretty solid. Yeah, I think this card's pretty solid. That's all I have to say about that. I think in Limited, this card's cracked. If you're playing Sealed or anything, this card's really, really good. And otherwise, I think it's just generally pretty good, right? Yeah, I mean, like, if you play it and it enters Hindered, your opponent can, like, just attack into it and try to kill it, but they still need, like, 3 damage, right? So, yeah. Razorgale Calling, we talked about this last week. I think it's pretty sweet. We already talked about this one. 3 Visits. I think this card, beautiful, beautiful card. So 0-drop, Cleric Mage skill, fast. So class bonus, you can activate this card from your graveyard. If you do, banish it as it resolves. You may activate this card from your banishment. If you do, put it on the bottom of your deck as it resolves. Rest your champion. If you do, glimpse 2 and recover 2. I think this card is absolutely freaking insane in your cleric deck. This card seems cracked in Arisana, like Wind Arisana, where you're going to do this once from your hand, glimpse 2, recover 2. This is so good. You heal 2 and you glimpse 2, so you can maybe do some Star Calling. And then you can play it again from your graveyard. Once again, you have to rest your champion, so you can't do this every turn, or you can't do this multiple times in a turn. You can do this sequentially. And then you can do it again from your banishment. This card's crazy. I think this card's insane. I think it's really good. Vengeful Gust. Cool artwork on this one. Oh, Pinocchus, of course. 3-drop, slow. Suppress an ally you don't control. Level 3 plus. The next time that card would enter the field this turn, it enters with deal 4 damage to your champion. Pretty cool. Suppress a dude, and then they take 4. Not bad. For 3. Gets rid of a blocker or something annoying. Not bad. Also, you can use it to kill your opponent because it deals 4 damage to the champion. Got this cat. Wild Growth Feline. 3-drop, 1/2. Whenever another animal or beast enters the field under your control, put a buff counter on the feline. I think this card is really good. It'll just get really big. Next up, we have Yunjo Cavalry, 3-drop, 2/3 with range 2. On enter, if you control a horse ally, this gets distant, so it'll become a 4th. Maybe we're going to talk about this one, but it seems pretty good. The stat lines are pretty, on par. 3-drop, 2/3, and it has an additional upside, so if you're running the horse deck, yeah. All right, now let's talk about some cracked cards. This is Xiaoyun Dragon's Blood. This is an Exia follower. 3-cost Exia unique ally, warrior human. Class bonus on attack, you may have Xiaoyun deal 2 unpreventable damage to your champion. If you do, this attack gets +2. And then class bonus on kill, Xiaoyun gains immortality permanently. Holy freaking smoke, dude. Bro. So he's a 3-drop 2/3 that essentially if he kills something, he just becomes immortal and he can pump himself up. I think this card's cracked. This card's really, really strong. Yeah, just immortal ally is insane. We have Jin. This is Jin level 1, level 2. We already talked about the level 3 Jin. Here we have Executioner's Spear, 0-drop weapon, 1/2. On kill, put a durability counter on the spear. Yeah, so you just use this to kill things. Do the final little point of damage, and it just gets the durability counters back. Seems pretty good. We have Berserker Plate. 1-drop Exia Regalia item, warrior armor, class bonus. Your champion gets +7 health, which is a lot. And it says, at the beginning of your recollection phase, deal 3 unpreventable damage to your champion, then draw a card. I think this card is kind of cracked as well. I think this card's kind of cracked. So you get 7, and then you start taking some damage, but you also draw those cards. Yeah. But well, maybe. The problem is by the time you play this, you might already be close to dead. I don't know. I'll have to play this, and I'll have to, use this like myself. But I think it's good. We have Shuangji of Sacrifice. 1-drop, 1/3 Regalia weapon, polearm. Class bonus for every 5, obviously warrior, for every 5 damage counters on your champion. This gets +1 attack. This is actually insane. On enter, you may have Shang-Chi of Sacrifice deal 5 unpreventable damage to your champion. If you do, draw a card. Bro, it could get +5 attack. It can get even more than that, of course. Like if you have 30 damage counters, this is gonna kill people. This stupid thing is gonna kill people dead. This is one of the big finishers for Jin, of course. And next up we have Pierce the Heavens, 3-drop, 3 attack Jin bonus. As long as your champion has leveled up this turn, this attack gets +2 and has unblockable. I think this is cracked as well. This is a 3-drop, 5 attack unblockable attack on the turn that you level up. Seems nice. Seems real nice. We have Eminent Commander. Really cool artwork. Hey, look, it's Han. 5-drop, Han's artwork. 5-drop, 2/4 class bonus, costs 3 less to activate as long as your champion has dealt 3 or more combat damage this turn. Interesting. So this is a... If you deal 3 or more combat damage, this is a 3-drop 2/4. So slightly better than a 3-drop 2/3. Is it worth jumping through these hoops? If you're like maybe Lorraine or Jin or something? I don't know. Maybe. That's a big maybe. Materialized Polearm. This does exactly what you think it does. It's a class bonus. Costs 1 less to activate. Warrior spell. You materialize a polearm for your deck. You still pay its costs. It does exactly what you think it does. It's a 4-drop. It's a lot. So maybe, but I'm not sure. We have Enrage. 4-drop. Damage 20 plus. It costs 2 less to activate. Deal 4 unpreventable damage to your champion. Then their next attack this turn gets +1 for every 4 damage counters on them. This is also insane. You do Enrage plus the Shang-Chi of Sacrifice. That is so much freaking damage, dude. Like, we're talking like one-shot levels of damage, right? Because this gets up for every 5, and then this will get up for every 4. So if you have taken 20 damage, that's a +9? Yeah, +9, right? Because it'll be 4 from this and then 5 from this, right? Yeah. +9 with just 20 damage taken. That's a lot. Here's Exia Sight, so we get the new sight. So 0-drop, draw a card, fast, damage 20 plus. The next card you activate this turn costs 1 less to activate. This card also seems pretty cracked. Seems really, really good. This is one of the sites that you're probably going to jam a bunch of, but we'll see how it works out. We have Mend Flesh, 2-drop, damage 25 plus, costs 2 less to activate. Recover 8. So this is one of the ways that you can not die after you have become immortal. Yeah, seems good. I really, really want to play Jin. I think the deck is really cool. And then next up we have Relentless Outburst. Class bonus, and then damage 35 plus. Until end of turn, if target champion would take damage this turn, they take that much +1 instead. And then for every 6 damage counters on your champion, deal 1 damage to all other units. Whew. Yeah. Jin's looking awesome. Really, really cool. Very much looking forward to building this. And then here we have a bunch of Kong Wings that we've seen before. Like I said, here's her artwork. We have Fan of 7 Debts. This is a 1-drop material deck card. On enter, draw a card. And then on Kong Ming bonus, you banish it, and then change the direction of your shifting currents to a direction of your choice, which is kind of cool. You know, does your shifting currents thing. Shard of Empowerment. So this is kind of like Crystal of Empowerment, but a little bit not as good. So this says banish Shard of Empowerment, Empower 2. So like I said, it just gives you that +2 level, but only for the next spell you play. So it's not just like for the whole turn kind of deal. We have Ardent Cloud Striker, a 5-drop 3/5. On attack, if your shifting currents face west, and this is attacking a champion, it gets +3 attack. So it could be a 5-drop 6 attack if you have it pointing the right way, which is interesting. Next up we have Cariolus Ward, 1-drop, fast mage spell. Prevent the next 1+ level damage to be dealt to target unit this turn. If your shifting currents face west, draw a card into your memory. So pretty sweet. We have Hydro Guard Retainer, 3-drop 1/4 with taunt. And it says, whenever your shifting currents change from north to west, draw a card, which is also pretty cool. So you have this like shifting to west kind of synergy. We have Tsunami of Non-Yue, 5-drop slow, efficiency, mage. Deal 2 damage to all rested allies. If your shifting currents face south, deal 3 damage to all rested allies you don't control instead. I really like what Kongming is doing. It seems really tricky to pull off though, but having these kind of board wipe type stuff is good. This card's a big one though. This is Leeching Bolt. 2-drop, Terra, fast. Deal level damage to target unit. So this is a new fireball. Recover 2. Then, class bonus, Mage. If Leeching Bolt is empowered, put it into its owner's material deck, Preserve, so you can play it again. Whew, that's wild. Yeah, this will be a big finisher for Kongming. Yeah, this will be like probably the finisher for Kongming. We also have Planner Abyss. This card is also rad as hell. It's a 12-drop slow Terra action mage spell. Class bonus efficiency, right? And it says, at the beginning of your next recollection phase, destroy all non-champion objects. If your shifting currents face south, deal 10 damage to each champion you don't control. So you need to face south, and then you blow up everything and deal your opponent 10 damage. And then presumably you know, Leeching Bolt them or something. Yeah, seems pretty good. We have a Savage Swing reprint with this really cute artwork. And then we also have some like a Terrafring reprint with a really cute artwork. And Blazing Throw reprint with really awesome artwork. And Backup Charger reprint with best assassin girl, best assassin waifu automaton. Those words, put them in the right order. Crimson Tier, Backup Charger, really good. And then of course we have Minth, Spirit of Water. This is one of the Ascent spirits, and she might be my favorite one so far. Absolutely gorgeous. So, yeah, this set is looking pretty good. My big takeaway from this is I'm really excited to play both of the champions. I actually think Jin, it looks insane. He looks way more fun than I thought. It's kind of wild. And then I think Kongming just seems really interesting and really, really fun. And I obviously really like her flavor. Yeah, but Jin looks great. And I also want to do like a fire, some sort of fire tamer build given Xiao Chao, as well as like the tiger and all the other stuff that they have going on. So really interesting. I can't wait to see what's the rest of the stuff in this set. I might be sold on Jin though. Like he seems wild. Like not just this effect, but all of these effects are just crazy. They're so insane. So I like going big. We're gonna be playing on boy Jin. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think about all this stuff in the comment section down below. We'll see you next time.